What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk of the Tundra, your Green Bay Packers podcast that is a proud partner of the Eurostat Podcast Network and the Blue Wire family. As always, I am your host, Numac, coming to you with the preview of a big game this week. Packers play on Sunday Night Football against the Pittsburgh Steelers and old friend Aaron Rodgers. His first game against the Packers since leaving town 3 years ago now, 2.5 years ago. And we're set for a big one. This game was rumored to be played in Dublin earlier this year. And then, smartly enough, the NFL and Pittsburgh and whoever put the kibosh on that and put this game in prime time where it belongs and didn't put it at 8:30 in the morning with the rest of the overseas games because that would have been bad and weird, some might say. So, with all that being said, we are very excited to dig into this. And by we, I mean me and my lovely co-host, Jordan Tresky. Jordan, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. I'm excited for Rodgers week. I gotta admit, I think this and Aaron Rodgers did say as much. It's not as big as it would have been.
If he was I'm going to get into this right away. If he was I don't want to swear, a dickhead about it is how I guess I'll be not swearing.
No, I don't think. I think it's valid. I mean, it's the reason why Favre coming back
Was
was
so
big.
juicy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because it was. I mean, it's hard to think of. It overshadows him initially going to the Jets,
Right.
but it would not have been the same if it was like, oh, they meet in New. The funniest thing too is that we're just going to talk about the Rodgers of it initially, but he talks about how Aaron Rodgers talks about they. He talks about like going to the Jets initially, but he talks about it as in like he was in New Jersey, which is factually correct. Like he's not wrong, but it is also like
Yeah, he was
close.
immunized.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah.
before we have all of the fun digging into Packers versus Rodgers week, we do have some cheese board nominees to go through for this game against the Cardinals. Before we get into that, big thank you to Jordan and Andrew for filling in for me while my little one was sick and I was unable to sit in front of the microphone. And now I am sick because that's just how life goes. So if I sniffle or I sound a little bit more nasally, I am sorry. I hope to be better by Sunday. That being said, cheese
Are you
board.
questionable on the injury report?
No, I'm probable,
Okay, there we go.
but I'm gonna be wearing a breathe right strip every day.
Oh yeah.
Like those, like yeah, just yeah. Regardless, cheese board nominees. We have 8 of them this week, and what was a better game performatively all around um, than in years past. So first and foremost, we have uh, Jordan Love, 19 for 29, 179 passing yards, a touchdown, 4 carries, and 22 rushing yards. Josh Jacobs, 13 carries, 55 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, and then 1 catch for 3 yards. Tucker Kraft, 5 catches on 10 targets with 58 receiving yards and 1 receiving TD. Side note, I feel like he's had that game like 3 times this year, like that exact stat line or something very close to it, which is very funny. Um, Romeo Doubs, 6 catches on 8 targets for 72 yards. Micah Parsons, 5 tackles, 4 of which were solo, 3 sacks, 5 QB hits, 4 tackles for a loss, and the reigning NFC Defensive Player of the Week. Quay Walker, 9 tackles, 5 of which were solo, 1 half sack, 3 QB hits, and 1 tackle for a loss. Rashawn Gary, 2 tackles, 1 sack, and 2 QB hits and a forced fumble. And Lucas Haversick, 2 for 2 on his field goals, including making the longest field goal in Packers history at 61 yards and 3 for 3 on extra points. Um, I will start off by saying we're not going to be giving Lucas Haversick a cheese because we gave it to him. We gave him
Oh!
one last week. Like the longest field goal in Packers history going to a backup is admittedly very funny, but uh, not enough to earn him a cheese in my opinion. Even though that kick does loom large in the context of the game. I think
It did.
there's other more deserving players on this list.
I agree. I agree.
Um,
But I think this is really hard because I know you didn't get to react to the game right after,
right.
but for all the lamenting of the Packers defense, there were some pretty big standouts out there that I would say were crucial to winning, and I might lean more in favor of the defensive superstar performances than
Honest to goodness, Jordan. I'm giving three. My four nominees, like my four questions, like I'm not like, no Jordan Love this week. I thought he just played okay, even though he played well. Like not just okay, he played well. He's had better games that has earned him cheeses. Tucker Craft, he's had this game before. Nothing explosive, just a solid all around game. Same with Romeo Dobbs. Uh I'm partial to giving it to Micah, Quay, and Rashawn. Like just giving those three guys cheeses.
who.
My only hesitancy is that Josh Jacobs was battling both injury and illness and did a lot behind a line that wasn't doing him a lot of favors.
Well, and he had 4 carries by halftime. Like
Yeah,
they put him on a pitch count. There was even some reporting that he kind of got into a little bit of a sideline. Not like he wanted to play,
right.
and they were trying to limit him, and it can get heated that way. That's
That's football.
competitors.
That's sports.
But yeah, exactly. So I would probably lean him, but I just it's funny because like I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Is like Jordan Love. I thought he had a great game, even if it's like it's not wow numbers.
Yeah,
None of the offensive performances are wow.
he played like
It
he's like
all
he played well.
Yes, it all contributed to the greater whole of winning the game,
Mm-hmm.
putting up 27 points. It was just Gary Parsons Walker. That sounds like a name. It's not.
The law
Um,
firm.
Gary Parsons Walker. Do you think Chauncey Billups is going to retain them? No, Gary Parsons Walker were so good and impactful, disruptive that you could be. It's. I would probably go 2-1 in favor of the defense. I would go Jacobs over Gary, but at, you know it's very slight in my
I'm
opinion.
I'm team not Gary for the sole purpose of he forced the fumble. He
Your team, not Jacobs.
correct. Sorry, I'm team Gary
Yeah,
because he forced a fumble. He did what I've been yelling on this podcast for them to do for 4 weeks. Like he
that's true.
finally forced a turnover, and it was a critical one. Like they needed to swing the momentum. So as much as I want to give it to Josh Jacobs, I think the defense kind of reigns supreme here.
It's locked in.
It's locked in. Like I think we've given Josh Jacobs a cheese for a 2 touchdown performance with more yards. You know what I
Probably.
mean? And so I
I
think
mean, that. There's one thing that Josh Jacobs will salvage. Kind of an average running game is that he will hit the end zone. Like he has
he has
26 touchdowns and
no,
or
no, he has
20.
20. It might be 20. It's either 24 or 25. He has more
Yeah,
touchdowns than Packers games played,
yeah. So like
which is crazy.
he's a jackpot factory.
Yeah, a jackpot factory.
Yeah,
Sure. Is that what we're?
coming to a town near you.
Oh, Port Washington, maybe. We're touching.
I don't think.
We're touching all topics on this
Yeah,
episode of
we
Chocolate
are.
Tundra. so,
Watch out, Fox Valley.
all right, Micah Parsons, Quay Walker, Rashawn Gary. Congratulations on all of your cheeses this week. I before we get into the rest of it, I have words on Quay Walker. I don't know, and again, this is
Going off
nitpicking.
script.
And we are going off script. This is nitpicking something that matters exactly none in the grand scheme of things. PFF gave him like one of like the top or the bottom 5 worst grades on defense for the Packers last week. And I'm glad the Packers like media sphere on Twitter, like fans and reporters in and of themselves, recognize that like PFF is just kind of goofy that way because I'm sure you agree. I thought Quay had like uh one of his best games ever. Yeah, last week.
Yeah. Yes.
Um
Yes.
58.6 grade on for Quay Walker, including a 28.6 rush defense grade, in which he had 5 stops. Jordan, a play that which results in a negative or a loss for the offense.
A
He had,
negative EPA.
he had 5 of them, and he gets a 28.6 rush defense rate. Like, I know there's nuance to the whole PFF stuff. This is what we talk about when we say there's noise in the grades versus how they actually played. Because I thought he played out of his mind. So
Yeah.
that's I get to, like I said, talk about it post game. He had a really good game last week. I was
Yeah.
very happy with
And
how he played.
honestly, like, I don't know, like, it. Are there going to be outliers? Sure. But it also is, it's one of those things where it is useful information to have, and you can also, it's just a matter of discerning what is useful to you and what isn't.
Yep.
Like, it's, it what, it's like astounding when people like go crazy about Madden ratings when the game comes out, and it's like, they evolve over time. Like, the it's not different. It's a lot different than Madden '01 when it was the game and they didn't have roster updates concurrent with the season. So it's like, why are we freaking out about it when we know that this changes every week, after every game? I don't think it does a disservice to be like, is it really like, oh my god, he got a 58.2? It's just all something that is
Yeah.
probably going to make Packer fans angry on social media, and
Which isn't
par
new
for the
news.
course.
Yeah. Par for the
So
course. So sorry to go on that little diatribe, but I had seen that throughout the week, and I was like, I have thoughts on this. So, alrighty, moving on. News and notes from the week. Uh, Christian Watson is shooting his shot and hoping to play against the Steelers Sunday night. Um, he has said the same thing the last few weeks. Like Matt LaFleur said it in his press conference that he hopes that every player on the team is hoping to play every week, especially like given like they're coming back from injury, they're working towards playing, all of that good stuff. Um, I think you said it in the Discord or to me in DMs or whatever. Uh or no, we might have said it last week.
probably.
Christian Watson coming back in his first game back on that turf in Pittsburgh. Zach Jacobson or somebody said, I forget who it
No
was.
bueno.
Yeah, no bueno. It was Zach Jacobson or somebody, I forget who it was, said 10 years after Jordy Nelson tore his ACL on that field. Don't love the vibes.
And we saw it in the Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah,
Like,
it
that's
explodes. It's not stable. It just falls into the earth.
yeah. And who was born in the darkness? Retreat? Babe.
That is true. That is true. So we'll see if Christian Watson plays. I, from an interpersonal standpoint, I feel like if they don't let him play, he's gonna be pissed. But I'd
You know who's gonna be ready?
is his dad to talk about on Twitter, of course.
Yes.
At the same time, like if he's ready, he's ready. You can't attribute turf or field conditions to possibly re-injuring somebody, but like if that's the precaution the Packers take, I wouldn't be upset that they did. But then he like has to come out and not have like a snap count against the Panthers. You know what I mean? Not have a snap count, maybe a bit too drastic, but he's gonna want to like have the ball in his hands, which much like the rest of the receivers and the tight ends, they all do.
And if we're being honest, I mean, Christian Watson got hurt on Packers turf.
Yeah,
He's
it's Christian Watson.
he's an injury prone person coming back from a very serious injury that has worked really hard to get back to where he is, and it's like, Packers are gonna put trust in that. You know what I mean? Like, I do think we'll just see him on a pitch count no matter what. Like,
yeah,
they have an opening. We'll get into Dontavian Wicks being hurt,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, for all the hand wringing that we'll probably have, like,
Oh,
we're always,
there will
this
be
is just
hand
what we
wringing.
are. There'll be hand wringing no matter what. There's no good in state decision unless it's that he, finishes like a 300-yard receiving game or something, something just spectacular.
Yeah,
But it there's risk involved with whenever he's going to come back. That's the whole point. That's what it's been for 4 years now, and it's just the name of the game.
It is the name of the game. So, uh, moving on. For the first time ever, the Packers. Well, what do you have anything else on Christian
No,
Watson?
it's, I love your segue of moving out.
I had nothing else to say on the matter.
I know I like it.
Apropos of nothing,
App-
for the first time ever, the Packers will be facing franchise icon, uh, noted immunized man, and Steelers quarterback now, Aaron Rodgers. Uh, it's gonna be a fun. Gonna be a fun game as we preview it in a couple minutes here. The Packers are searching for their first victory in Pittsburgh since December 6th, 1970, which coincidentally was Bart Starr's last victory as the Packers' starting quarterback. What a little historic pull from one Jordan Tresky. Good find, buddy.
Thank
Um,
you.
Rodgers has been obviously doing the media rounds with everybody's media this week, including Packers media, which a lot of fun uh, quotes and stuff from there this week. Um, this is just from some of that. Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't see Sunday as a revenge game, but also talked about his plans to retire as a Packer when it's all said and done. I do really think that, like, and I don't want to make a. This is a weird moment given how we've talked about Rodgers in the past,
Hmm.
but like, I think the Jets years really softened him. Like, I think everything that went down in New Jersey kind of made him realize that shit ain't so sweet. And I think he's not. I don't think he thinks he's lucky to be playing in Pittsburgh as like a opportunity, but I think he's happy to be within a stable organization again. Because like obviously the Achilles didn't go well. His like game one, snap three, and then the rest of year two went very poorly. Even though he wanted like he got everything his way kind of thing. I think being within an organization that is professional and doesn't play the drama has kind of benefited him a little bit. He doesn't seem so rough around the edges anymore. He also hasn't been like in the spotlight, which probably is better for him and what we think of him, probably. Besides his lovely documentary, but um, yeah, slapping on the bongos. But I like I do truly believe him when I think when he says he doesn't see Sunday as a revenge game. Like I'm gonna be locked into the TV just like throughout the game, obviously, but then like just post game too. It's gonna be fun to see Rodgers and Love come together at midfield and Rodgers on the floor and all that stuff. Like everybody in Rodgers, like Romeo was there, Christian Watson was
Yeah,
there.
there's
Like there's
love,
a
obviously.
Love, obviously. Like there's just a lot of players that were on that team. Like I think yeah, um,
Wyatt.
Quay, Wyatt, if he's around. I don't know. Not sure if he'll travel if he's not playing. Um,
He is practicing.
I love that. Um, Rashawn Gary, like there's guys around. Keyshawn Nixon will be there. Like
Jenkins.
there's so Jenkins. There's so many players that are still there from his tenure.
Tom.
Tom,
Zach Tom.
like they're going to want to give him a hug and say hi, and so it's gonna be fun to see that, and I really hope that we get a shootout. Like that, nothing would be more fun than to see a high scoring game. But I'm glad that like he's not motivating himself out of spite, kind of like how Favre did in his years going away from the Packers.
I mean that I think you have certainly hit a big thing of it. Is things have thawed. I mean, even really like when he officially wanted to be traded, not the 2021 year, the whole draft story with that Schefter, whatever. It was very carefully plotted. Um, but when it led to the Jets having, they felt like they were going to make the leap. He wanted out. The writing was on the wall. The Packers are going to move on. Heir apparent was going to come in with Jordan Love taking over. I think time has helped benefit that. I think it certainly helped that one, he, not that this helps, but going through a drastic injury and feeling your football mortality certainly upfront will change your feelings on that. Playing for one of the worst organizations in professional sports will certainly change your tune about that too. Like, and I know it's, he's was there for a very long time. We for as exhausted as we were by the end of it, like he is gonna forever. Yeah, I don't think anybody plays as long for the Green Bay Packers as he does. It's 18 years is a long time. That's practically a teenager.
I
So
mean,
when he could
love maybe, but like that, it requires a certain longevity,
exactly, yep,
even with
longevity and
injuries. Like you
yeah,
get to play at such a high level for so long.
the fact that Aaron Rodgers was able to surpass that and do that past his predecessor with Favre, like Favre was here for 15 years. That's a long time, and Rodgers eclipsed that with 3 years and two MVPs. Um, or I should say one MVP because he had four over Favre's three. But still, it's just like a lot of things have thawed to the point where, like, I'm sure he's downplaying how much he wants to win over the Packers, but I don't think he views it in a sense of like personal motivation. I think he views it in the sense of it's a win on this season. He's just wired in a way that it has certainly felt like the circle is a lot tighter in terms of like it just was really weird. Like he was filming a documentary. He was a lot of other off the field stuff that frankly was Pat McAfee. That was another big reason of it is like it's just a lot of things have tampered down to the point where it's like it'll be fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And it's just the nature of things. It like eventually you kind of get back together. I
And
go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say like the Packers have had success. Like they're not
Yeah, like
the whole point of like we started this podcast like in Rodgers last year, and we kind of anticipated it going into it anyway.
yeah,
But our whole talking point throughout that saga and kind of that lingering cloud ever everything was they've that his final year was essentially bottoming out.
yeah.
And if they bottomed out with him, it doesn't hurt so bad when he leaves. You know what I mean? Like
Leaves or
it's just
retires.
leaves or yeah, exactly. Leaves or retires are when the decision is finally made. And the fact that the Packers have had success and they've certainly changed their fortunes around and embraced, more aggressive movement. I'm sure Aaron Rodgers would have loved to have seen a move like Micah Parsons. But still, they didn't need to do that when they could have hit on a Charles Woodson or, not to relitigate past moves or whatever. But I think that's another big part of it in my mind. It's like it's just not as painful as I think a lot of people were bracing for it to be because like he went through hell with the Jets. The Packers, no one was saying, "Oh, that was a terrible move to move on from Aaron Rodgers." Not long after he got hurt, and when the Packers eventually won a
I'm
playoff
sure
game,
that some people were, but
Pat McAfee was for sure. But like, you know what I mean? It's like any talk of that quickly died down after that offseason and then how things fared out for both franchises.
right, exactly, exactly. Regardless, it's gonna be a very fun time. It's gonna be a very fun time. So, alrighty, let's get into the injury report, the talking points, all of that good stuff. Um, the injury report, thankfully, isn't extensive. It's not short, but it's not super long either this week. I'm gonna say that, and there's easily 15 names on here. Um, we'll start with a few full participants. Aaron Banks, Anthony Belton, and Nate Hobbs are all full participants after being limited on Wednesday. Banks with a groin, Belton with his ankle, and Nate Hobbs with a knee injury. Josh Jacobs limited with both days with his calf injury. Xavier McKinney, I think, pops up on the report. I don't think he was there last week. With an ankle/knee issue, he was limited in practice both days. Brandon McManus was a DMP on Wednesday, but was upgraded to limited with his quad injury. Jordan Morgan was a full participant with a knee injury both Wednesday and Thursday. Zach Tom with a back and not oblique, interestingly enough, unless he has qualified as a back on the injury report. Limited in both days. I'm guessing it's oblique. It's torn. I can't imagine it's anything else. Lucas Van Ness was a DMP both days with his foot injury. I would imagine he probably doesn't play this week, similar to last week. Um, Quay Walker has a neck injury. I think that was what he went out of the game with briefly on Sunday.
Like the stinger,
Yeah,
right? Because he was like his arm was like he
yeah.
was just not. Yeah.
Um, Full participant both Wednesday and Thursday. Dontavian Wicks, who is not going to play this week, was a DMP with a calf injury both Wednesday and Thursday. Evan Williams has a back issue. He was limited both Wednesday and Thursday, and Devontae White with a knee injury, limited both Wednesday and Thursday. So, going for the Steelers, wide receiver Calvin Austin has a shoulder injury. He was a full participant both days. Center Zach Frazier, I believe their starter. He is, in fact, their starter. Uh, was limited on Wednesday, ended up as a DMP on Thursday. Uh, Malik Harrison, the linebacker, is coming back from IR. He was a full participant, so nothing there. Will Howard coming back from IR, right hand. He was a full participant, so nothing there. Um, Scotty Miller, the wide receiver, was sustained an injury during practice. He was limited on Thursday after not having a designation on Wednesday. So, um, TJ Watt was a DMP for rest on Wednesday, but cropped up on the injury report on Thursday with a hip injury. He was limited on Thursday. So worth noting his designation throughout tomorrow or today as you're listening to this, and what his status will be on Sunday. So with all of that being said, did you want to talk about Dante Wicks at all as we before we jump into the talking points?
Um, I think it just. I mean, he left the game last week, and you know, it's just his ankle injury is certainly not going away. And
It
I felt
doesn't
like for us,
it doesn't help that they're down
no,
now Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, and Dontavian Wicks. I don't feel good about that. Like, he hasn't been the biggest guy target share wise, but he's been sure handed this year, which is something they just like need, you know?
yes, yeah. I mean, it's really been Golden, Dobbs, Kraft that's really carried them.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you look at target share, I'm gonna guess those are the top three of the last like 3 to 4 weeks.
Who'd you say?
Maybe not on the
Who'd
season.
you say? Golden,
I
Kraft, and
well,
who?
in order, I'd probably say Dobbs, Kraft, Golden
Yeah,
in terms of like target
I'd
share.
probably say that.
But yeah, just I don't know. It's one of those things where ankle injuries not getting better. You're in the grind of week to week, and you're trying to get better. But like every game that you play, essentially, it's like it makes it that much harder to try to get fully right. Like kind of this push and pull that you never get to the even ground that you want to get to. So it's just something to monitor, and obviously, I mean, like I said before, it opens the door for Christian Watson to immediately get reps and on the field. But I do wonder if this lingers more. That are they going to shut him down, or is this going to kind of be like a lost season for Dontavian Wicks, who I did think had a good, comfortable start to the season after
I'd agree.
you know all the drops last year.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And that's kind of like that was what bit Jaden Reed too, right? Is that he has that great catch and he looked good for what was it, a half or a game and a half? I forget what game he got. He got injured in the Lions game, right?
He played all the Lions game and then got hurt on the opening drive of the Commanders game.
Right, and he looked good during the Lions game and had that touchdown during the Commanders game that was not a touchdown, but he caught it.
Yeah.
Where the play got hurt on, and so it's like it sucks to see that what should have been exciting play kind of kickstart his season end up as a nothing burger and an injury. Same thing with Dontavian Wicks, where again he's been solid all year. I don't think he has a touchdown, but he has been solid with the hands, which is what they just need him to be because he has separation ability, as we've talked about at length so many times on this podcast. But I think he had a separate or a separate injury besides his ankle for some reason. Oh, it was his calf a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, yeah, that is right. I think, yeah, it's kind of
It's
morphed down.
yeah, which is unfortunate. And so hopefully he does get right through the middle part of this season, and then come back towards the end, like hopefully soon, but and be healthy and kind of get right and ready for a playoff push kind of thing.
Actually, I revise what I said about on for the last couple of weeks. Dobbs, Kraft, and Golden are top three in that order for targets this year.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right. So, alrighty, let's get into the game itself because it's gonna be fun. First and foremost, Packers got to shut down DK Metcalf and Rodgers in the passing attack. Like they've been a pretty good offensive team this year, and that's led by the addition of DK Metcalf, who the Steelers traded for earlier this offseason. Um, Packers are coming off a worrisome performance against Jacoby Brissett, where he carved them up, and now have to face Aaron Rodgers. Jacoby Brissett last week had 8.6 air yards per attempt, which is pretty solid. Um, if I'm not mistaken, DK Metcalf last week didn't have an inspiring performance against the Bengals. I'm checking his stats
No, I don't think he
right
did. I mean, I
now,
remember
but yeah,
watching that game too.
he's had a couple of stinkers this year, just like stats wise, where uh, against Seattle in week 2, he had 3 catches for 20 yards and a touchdown. Week 3, he had 3 catches for 32 yards and a touchdown. So he scores, but they lost the one against the Seahawks. And then last week, 3 catches on 5 targets for only 50 yards. He had went 5 for 5 for 126 a touchdown against the Vikings in week 4 in the game in Dublin, and then 4 for 9 for 95 yards a touchdown um, against Cleveland 2 weeks ago. So not a great performance from DK Metcalf last week, and I think a lot of those yards came on one chunk play, a 39-yard catch. So I would imagine he's going to kind of have his way with the Packers DBs this week because golly whiz, I think he's a lot better than any receiver the Cardinals have besides Trey McBride. But like he's way better than Marvin Harrison Jr. and whoever else was catching the ball for them. So I'm I'm not gonna say concerned, but with all of the rumblings of um Packers are looking into adding a cornerback at the deadline, and they're calling on DJ Turner, who according to Easton Butler, they asked if was legit available, like was a legit, will you trade him call, and called on Cam Taylor Britt, and I believe somebody else. This might be the game before the deadline next Thursday, I believe.
Tuesday.
No, 2 Tuesdays from now. Um,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
2 weeks from this week, not this coming Tuesday, Tuesday after. Um, this might be a game to kickstart those efforts to add a cornerback because Nate Hobbs didn't have a good week last week. Carrington Valentine's snaps have dwindled precipitously since Hobbs has come back. I think he only had 3 snaps on defense last week, 3 or 4. So they're going to need to figure something out in the secondary when it comes to those cornerback positions. And I don't think you're going to glean. I'd hope you wouldn't glean a lot against the Panthers next week and Tet McMillan and Xavier Legette. But if they have to go the rest of their season with, I'm trying to pull up their schedule real quick so I can list it, as we've done before this season on the pod. All the receivers they're gonna have to face. AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, formerly Malik Neighbors, but not anymore, obviously. Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, DJ Moore, and Rome Odunze, Cortland Sutton, Odunze, and those guys twice, Zay Flowers, and then Justin Jefferson and company again. Like they have a lot of really good receivers coming up towards in this stretch run in the second half of the season. If Keyshawn and Nate Hobbs can't handle DK
Yeah,
Metcalf, who is another one
yeah.
of like the best receivers in the NFL, it I'd imagine is going to sow some doubt into the mind of Brian Gutekunst of is the secondary going to be why we don't make a stretch run in the playoffs, and do we need to bolster that room, and is it worth giving up another draft pick for?
That is the biggest question. I mean, I think like you mentioned, we're the Panthers game is the last, physical proof of on-field play that will determine the whatever happens come trade deadline. But still, like we're going in the season, and the Steelers make the move for DK Metcalf, and still had not settled um, the Rodgers thing by the time the schedule came out. At least we were looking at this as a big game of like, okay, well, this is another of the big time wide receivers that the Packers have to go up against. And I'm not saying Keyshawn Nixon is, not culpable or anything like that, but like his track record has been great so far this season. He's also been pretty much healthy. Nate Hobbs did not get off on the right foot by getting hurt and has had to play catch up. And I think he's suffered for it where he's playing behind the play, like he's getting beat on routes, like and that's I know Justin Mosquito has made the point too. It's like this is not even his most natural position coming into it. Like he came from Las Vegas as an in like a slot
A
corner,
slot
and
corner, yeah.
they're trying to make it work that way, and it's not sticking. So do you see more Carrington Valentine if performance starts to dwindle even more? Like he has the confidence of the coaching staff. LaFleur and Halfley both caped for him this week and talked about how he has better performances ahead of him. But it is just like you can prepare for all you want. Sometimes like you just don't have it. Like I don't think this is like indictment of him as a player, so to speak, but like there's a lot of cause for concern that it's just not going to click for what it is so far this season between injury, between trying to make a square peg fit a round hole as like an outside corner, and sometimes like it's not your season. So yeah, like I think this is one of those things where I think I would hope the Packers go into this game where they're trying to pretty much do everything possible to not have Nate Hobbs on DK Metcalf, but the Steelers aren't where the Packers really faltered last week is the 3rd and 23 or the third and longs, third and very longs, whatever number it was. Like that's not who they are. So when Nate Hobbs is the primary reason for why they're giving up those plays, even when it could be zone and he's the nearest guy towards it. It doesn't matter. Like that is why that game was a lot far closer than it should have been or had any right to be. And I would hope that they're going into this game plan of like, let's limit Hobbs on Metcalf and just play more physical. Like just this Steelers team is not like an aired out team. Like that's not been why Rodgers has actually been pretty good this year.
Yeah, he has the second fastest time to throw. Uh, or yeah, second fastest time to throw in the NFL at 2.63 seconds, which is famously not his game. Like he likes to get the ball
Oh,
out fast sometimes when he's with the Packers, but he did like to sit there and let plays develop a little bit, and obviously take time during the take the clock down pre snap and everything. But we've talked about it in recent weeks. The quick passing game is how you beat this Packers defense and how you beat this Packers pass rush. And so it's going to be interesting to see if Rodgers can be like prime Rodgers and pick apart a defense for what they're giving him in the 4 to 5 yard range every play. So that'll be interesting for sure. And I think like to your point, trying to hide Nate Hobbs from DK Metcalf as much as possible, that is a whole lot easier said than done against a quarterback like Rodgers, because going into the week, if they know they want to pick on Nate Hobbs and DK Metcalf's on the other side of the field than Nate Hobbs is, all they're gonna do is send him into motion. And
yep.
if no one follows him, great, zone coverage. Like we can pick on Nate Hobbs. If it's man, then there we go, kind of thing. So It'll be interesting to see the chess match of how that goes. But yeah, I think they need the team itself needs to be evaluating cornerback play out very heavily this week ahead of the deadline.
I agree.
Um, Next point, Steelers pass rush, my apologies, has the second highest average time to pressure for QBs, 2.48 seconds, only behind the Cleveland Browns. That should be the
Second
second
lowest,
lowest average,
second
second
best.
best. Yeah,
Yeah,
second best. Um, that pass rush, I can never say pass rush.
pass rush,
I always say pash rush.
pass.
Yeah. And so, um, that pass rush is led by obviously former All Pro and future Hall of Famer TJ Watt and Nick Herbig, who has 5 sacks along with 23 pressures, which are the same stats as TJ Watt. Obviously, Cameron Hayward's there as well. Derek Harmon, who we liked in the draft 2 years ago, as well as Keanu Benton, the former Badger, has a few pressures in here as well. A lot of sacks for them as a team, 26 through 6 games this year, so they definitely get home. Uh, Obviously, like I said, we talked about T.J. Watt, or we will talk about T.J. Watt, and he'll be going against Rasheed Walker, and we'll see how that holds up. And I wouldn't be surprised if they try to work on Zach Tom either with his injury. So, and then obviously, I had never heard of Nick Herbig, never heard of him before, but he's having quite the season statistically. Has 4.5 sacks with a 16.4% pressure rate. Um, and the Steelers themselves rank seventh in blitzing percentage so far this season. So they're going to be coming at Love, I'd imagine, pretty quick, especially
Look
with
how
how the line has performed throughout the season thus far.
look how far the Badgers have fallen. You don't know Nick Herbig.
He was a Badger.
He was a Badger.
Yeah, that's
Drafted 2023, so Paul Chris last year, and Jim Leonard taking over. The future was bright.
was
The
it.
future was bright.
I think the sun was setting, but Keith can yell at us. So
I just had to get it in there.
yes, so yeah, the Packers line has been testy. I think they've been good against the rush, like against the pass rush, but I don't know if they've faced a crew like this yet. Besides the Browns, who kind of feasted, they kind of made the pocket a lot messy. They made the pocket messy, not a lot messy. This made it messy in their game against Cleveland. So,
A hot
well,
pocket.
hopefully the offense and Matt LaFleur don't scheme for TJ Watt like they did with Myles Garrett, and they actually try to just do their thing.
That's the biggest thing. The biggest thing. And like it is felt like they have found some gelling after some early turbulence, whether it was through
The
injury
line,
and the line to be uh, clear. Obviously, Zach Tom's condition, we talked about it a lot last week of like it's not ideal, it's not what we want, and at some point it does feel like malpractice. But Zach Tom is signing up for this because hey, football. But it does feel like the O line is kind of getting to the point of being workable. Like Jordan Morgan, he's there. Like the rotation is not as
that's his spot now.
that is his spot. At least this is how it's working this year. Alan Jenkins looks getting more reps on the ball. Literally is helping him and be able to take out blitzers and extra rushers, all that kind of fun things. So yeah, I think this is. I think it's funny because like the more you look into the Steelers and having watched them against Cincinnati, I know that was kind of superstar performance. Like no Packers don't have anyone near the level of Jamar Chase. I was not gonna say Joe Flacco. I was not gonna say Joe Flacco. You started laughing when I said that. You're muted.
No, 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 no. I wasn't gonna say Joe Flacco. I was going to say that Jamar Chase performance was stupid.
It was stupid.
I'm sure
Very
everyone
stupid.
who's listening to this is clued in enough to know all of those stats and everything, like across the NFL. If you didn't know, Jamar Chase against the Steelers last week went 16 catches on 23 targets for 161 and a touchdown, which is bonkers.
23 targets is
It's
just
insane.
ridiculous.
You
That's like
realize
a an NBA player scoring like 47 points, 60 and 23.
it's really
You know what I mean?
funny that like Joe Flacco went from passing to wide receiver one Jerry Jeudy to having Jamar Chase. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm not throwing to anybody else.
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
It's insane.
Sorry to get off point, but it was it was laughable that that performance existed last week.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think too, like to set up my point is like Pittsburgh has a really good pass rush, front four, whatever you want to call it, and then you look at like their corners, like Darius Slay's on this team. Jalen Ramsey's been okay. Like they made the move to get him, but like that's an older secondary. Like Jalen Ramsey is a good corner, but he's not like this fearsome, the
He's
future.
not what
Like
he was, but he's still good.
no, he's still good. So, but Darius Slay, I believe, is the oldest cornerback in the league.
I think so.
So, yeah. And they made the move for Micah Fitzpatrick, which I don't think has really fortified their secondary either. And
No, they traded away Minka Fitzpatrick.
that's right. Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah,
No,
they
wait.
yes, they traded
Right?
away Minka to the Dolphins for Jalen Ramsey.
That's right.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah, what a
because
weird trade.
because it was like the obviously Minka played for the Dolphins. They traded him to the Steelers and then traded him back. But
Yeah.
the Minka thing was they didn't want to pay Minka because he has a contract coming up. So instead, they traded for Jalen Ramsey, who has an equally big contract.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a whole
Agreed.
thing. But yeah, Joey Porter Jr. is on this team too. He's not for nothing. He's a
He's very
good
good.
yeah. Like they just have always had a solid defense. It's just a weird team this year that I feel like their defense is good at this and at the same time like has its warts. I'm not sure
Yes.
if it's a Tomlin thing or if it's a personnel thing, but against like decent offenses and even bad offenses, they gave up 33 to the Joe Flacco Bengals, uh 21 to the Carson Wentz Vikings in Dublin, 31 in a loss to Sam Darnold at home, like in Pittsburgh. Um, and then they let the New York Jets score 32 on them in week one. And so like they've let up some pretty big performances against defenses or against offenses I would say aren't as good as the Packers when they're clicking. And so it'll be an interesting matchup specifically to see if like Jordan Love can take advantage of this Steelers secondary as well as just kind of avoid if the offense can avoid big mistakes like sacks and like causing turnovers or giving up turnovers.
Yeah. I mean, too, like the Rodgers of it all, not that he's probably going to have input in the defensive game plan by any means, but he certainly knows what Matt LaFleur wants to do. And
Yeah, if there's a guy that has insight into what an offense is going to do, it's Rodgers with the floor because as we've seen the last 3 years, the playbook hasn't changed that much under Jordan Love as it was with Rodgers. It's a lot of the same stuff.
yeah. So I don't, I mean, again, I don't know if they take his input, but
Oh, I'm sure they absolutely
why
do.
wouldn't they?
I'm sure they absolutely do.
Yeah,
I think they'd be dumb not to.
that is true. That is true. But yeah, I don't know. This is a very, like you mentioned, like we think of like the steel curtain, the Steelers' vaunted defense. But it's certainly not that. I mean, they gave up like 165 passing yards to the Cleveland Browns, and they're still like ranked. They had the second highest passing yards allowed per game,
That's crazy.
behind the Cowboys, which is, if you want to, yeah,
Yikes.
not good.
Yikes. Um, and for what it's worth, like their run defense is fairly solid too. Like they haven't given up. They haven't faced a really good running back running backs throughout the season. They faced Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet week 2 against the Seahawks, and they had 115 yards on 28 carries, but it's not awful. It's not awful. It's pretty okay. But like Brees Hall week 1, he hasn't scored a touchdown this year. I don't think he had that good of a game. I just talked about Seattle. I guess if you want to say Ramondre Stevenson in New England, I
And he fumbled like twice in that game.
I don't think Aaron Jones played in their game in Dublin, and then Quinshon Judkins 2 weeks ago, who they let have only 36 yards against, and he had a big week last week. So like he's a good back, and so I'll be curious to see if Josh Jacobs can really break through this defense and set the tone for how this offense wants to play. Like they always talk about how they like the offense wants to get the run game going and set up play action, set up the pass, but with Jacobs' calf, if it's hopefully it's healthy enough that where he can have a regular workload this week, he's going to be needed, I think, more than he was last week against the Cardinals.
I would agree. It's especially with how Emmanuel Wilson was struggling in kind of spot
Yeah,
plays early on.
he was.
Like
He
they,
did,
they went to him early and it was just like, oh, third down goes to fourth down. Third down goes to fourth. Like it was just like he didn't have it.
he also wasn't getting any favors with the play calling. Just
No.
throw the pitch play out the window, dog. I don't want to see it anymore.
Yeah.
Don't want to see it anymore. So that'll be important. And then I want to see quick if you guys will have a bit of patience with me. How many pressures allowed their starting five has or sacks too? Because like their line's pretty good, and I think that has to go along with the fact that Rodgers gets it out so fast. Um, Only six regulation sacks for the Pack or for the Steelers offensive line or yeah offensive line allowed this year.
Allowed?
Yes, it's only six sacks, four by Broderick Jones and two by Isaac Semalo.
Broderick Jones. Sorry.
I was going to say that. I said regulation sacks because he has a fifth sack allowed after he tackled Aaron Rodgers to the ground after his touchdown pass to Pat Frymuth last week, which was very funny.
That is true.
Is that what you were going to say?
No, I was gonna say
Okay.
Broderick Jones might be Micah Parsons' next.
Victim?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or Gary. Like
Or Gary,
either
one
or.
or
It's
two.
not. It's not a.
No,
It
he
don't get
is
better.
between him and Fontanu, their draft pick last year, I believe. Two tackles not playing well for the Steelers, at least according to PFF. Their grades are pretty poor. But in context, PFF has 14 allowed pressures for Broderick Jones and 10 for Troy Fontanu. So,
Fontana.
so
Ooh.
I don't know what all that was, but um, Fontanu also has two penalties on them this year, so they're not a heavily penalized offensive line. I see only six calls all year against the starters. Which imagine a line that doesn't make stupid mistakes. I can handle holdings. I can't handle false starts and
Illegal
illegal
formations.
formations and such like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how Micah Parsons does go against this unit, right? Because as I mentioned, Zach Frazier's on the injury report now, so like their two best their two best linemen are guards, like not statistically, but I mean, kind of, sort of. Zach Frazier and Mason McCormick are the two linemen that have allowed the least amount of pressures, 4 and 5 respectively, and they both have allowed 0 sacks. But with Zach Frazier being hobbled, I'll say,
Yeah.
and the tackles being not good,
Mincemeat.
yeah, mincemeat. That kind of plays into how Micah Parsons likes to bounce around the line, right? He likes to line up sometimes off the left, likes to line up sometimes off the right, likes to go sometimes up the middle. You're either getting two tackles that aren't playing well as your target for a pass rush, or you're getting the guy that is nursing, let me double check here, a new calf injury. It was a DNP on Thursday. So
Yeah.
if they have to shuffle their line around and go to a backup, that could be, again, feasting for Devontae Wyatt if he plays, or Carl Brooks or Colby Wooden or whoever they decide to throw inside. Could be an opportunity to get home to Aaron Rodgers, who, again, is 40, isn't very mobile, but is getting the ball out fast.
Well, and this is the biggest thing. It's not just the fact that he's getting the ball out fast and they're playing, quick tempo, or at least like it's not quick tempo, but they're not like, or it's early reads.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not
I
it's not hurry up offense.
no, yeah, it's like leisurely pace, but they find what they're looking for right away. I think the biggest thing for us and having watched Rodgers for a very long time is that when he would go against fearsome pass rushers, and when it's Micah Parsons is already kind of one and a half of that. Add in Gary, add in like a defensive line that has held up well enough without Devontae Wyatt, but will surely be better when he's on the field again. I really wonder to see how risk averse he will be. Like the Bengals were not in a position to test him in that way by any means, and I think Trey Hendrickson's been battling some injuries too because he obviously left the game against the Packers a couple weeks ago. Outside of like Seattle, like the Vikings were missing some of their key personnel, like Andrew Van Ginkel, who's still out as we're recording this. It we haven't from what Steeler games I have seen, we haven't seen Rodgers go up against big time edge rushers like that. Certainly of the caliber of Parsons. So I wonder how much of the Parsons effect will speed him up, or even just like he'll throw the ball away. Like we know how he operates. Like he's just not gonna try to take chances in that way, especially now that he's 40 and is he can move around some outside of the pocket, but it's a lot different when a guy's barreling down to get him, and if it's two like Gary and Parsons together.
Yeah, it's. I'm not gonna revel in him getting sacked. Like that's not what I'm going this week for. But like, it's going to be not fun, but interesting to see how he handles Micah Parsons. And like, if there's a QB that can handle him, it is Rodgers. He's. It's not like he's went against zero premier pass rushers in his career, right? He knows he's seen these kind
Yeah.
of guys before. But regardless, it'll be exciting to see because he's playing for us now, and Rodgers isn't. So, anything else, Jordan? Or should we get to players to watch and score predictions? The
I think it's
all that matters, score predictions.
I think it's time to watch some players.
I don't love that phrasing, but okay.
What? It's just reversing.
I know. I listen, pal. I know what you were doing. I just it gave me the ick. Ah, your first player to watch, pal.
I'm gonna be easy.
Like
I'm gonna
Sunday
go
morning.
Steelers. Exactly. Lionel Rich. Lionel Richard. Sorry. I'm gonna go Steelers quarterback Aaron Rodgers. It's for all the reasons why we've talked about it for what, probably an hour, close to 50
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah. Sorry, I'm off track now.
Yes.
Lionel Richie doesn't sing that song. That's the Commodores.
When Lionel Richie was in the
Is he?
Commodores.
Was he a part of the Commodores?
Yeah, he broke off from the Commodores.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's why you said that. I was like, I had no idea. How about there's something new every day?
Mm-hmm.
That really like confused me because I was like, I'm pretty sure I have that song on a playlist, and I don't see Lionel Richie's
Well,
name very
and
often.
when he left the Commodores, he was dancing on the ceiling.
He was what?
Dancing on the ceiling.
I don't know what that means.
I believe that's the Lionel Richie solo song.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. My Steeler to watch is going to be one TJ Watt. Because how do you not look at that star and not want to watch how he handles a lineman? So, pretty easy for me. And then I'm going to go easy too. for Packers. Jordan Love. I want to see these Packers or these quarterbacks duel. Like you'll have to help hold me to this, Jordan, because I will admittedly probably not feel this way on Sunday. But I'm fine if the secondaries are just bad this week. I want to see.
Hmm.
Do you remember the Sunday Night Football game back in 2018 between the Rams and the Chiefs, where it was like a
Oh yeah, it was like
48,
55 to
yeah,
47 or whatever.
whatever. It was a huge all offense game. Give me the all offense game, man. I know in my soul, in my bones, that's not what we're getting because the Packers don't operate that way. Like this offense isn't like constantly driving down the field and getting touchdowns really quickly. They're a methodical, slow moving offense. But god damn it, Jordan, a man can dream. So Jordan Love is my player to watch for the Packers.
I'm gonna go Mr. Target on his back. I'm gonna go Nate Hobbs.
Wow.
I'm let's see it. Let's see it. You know what I mean? Like
No, I get it.
I don't think we've dealt with a cornerback. I mean, this is lack of perspective. Like Eric Stokes is struggling
Uh
coming back from
best
injury.
graded PFF quarterback I think in the NFL, Eric Stokes.
Are you serious?
It's something ridiculous. Somebody
Because
had
he's
it might have been like coverage grade or something. I gotta find the tweet. I'll find the tweet while you explain yourself.
no. I was just gonna say like we've when I think of like poor outside corner that the Packers have employed for a very long time, and they're just like you don't have it. This guy's bad. I think of like Ahmad Carroll. Do you remember Ahmad Carroll?
I
Like
do in fact remember Ahmad
a lot of
Carroll.
PIs, a lot of defensive holding. He was just out of his element from the moment that they drafted him. Um, but yeah, like I said, nothing's what
I found it.
he's he's the
Uh
highest.
Bill first from Bill Huber on Monday. This is a tweet. Was looking up Packers coverage numbers at PFF. Eric Stokes is number one in the NFL in coverage snaps played per reception allowed. So he's allowed the least amount of receptions in the most in the snaps he's played.
Huh.
Like it's a percentage. So like if he allowed
Yeah, yeah,
one
yeah.
catch in 10 snaps, it'd be 10%.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, that's annoying.
Not what I would have anticipated.
There I just in Twitter googling his name, there are a couple other stats that are just interesting as well. This is from Tristan Kuhn, who I guess is an works for Catapult Sports as an NIL agent or something. I don't know, but
What?
he has stats.
Did you just find Eric Stokes' agent? Is that what you just did?
Dead ass. That might have been what this is. Um, but uh, are you looking for it? He's
I'm,
t-
I'm
he's
looking to see
tied.
who's.
He's tied for fourth with. This is where he ranks amongst cornerbacks with 155 coverage snaps. He's
Uh,
fourth in targets with 19. He's only allowed 10 receptions, which is second, tied for second. 123 yards allowed is fifth. Zero TDs allowed, three PBUs. 16% forced incompletion rate, 1.27 average yard separation per target. No, he's fifth in that. So he's having a damn good year, which again is very annoying in the context of the Packers needing a cornerback. So that's all. That's all.
yeah, that is somewhat annoying. But Nate Hobbs,
To interrupt you, I'm so sorry.
no, 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 it's okay. It is just it didn't work for Eric Stokes, and it may not work for Nate Hobbs. But this is a good time to rebound and hopefully recapture some of the lost momentum that he's suffered this season.
Yeah, hopefully so. Score predictions. I'm going to go 27-21 Packers, uh, because they've apparently are failing to score more than 27 points in a win.
I'll go Packers 27, Steelers 21.
So we're mirroring each other.
What did you say?
The same score.
I'll go Steelers 20.
Got it. Did you see on the Twitter machine or your Blue Sky app? Um, they did like NFL. I think like NFL Network did like the pick'ems for this week, and I forget who
I
it
did not see
was.
this.
I forget who it was, but somebody on the NFL Network picked the Packers to win 31-25. That was the score of Super Bowl 45 against the Steelers.
Who was the person?
G. Gordon. I didn't see his first name.
G. Gordon Liddy?
No, G. Gordon Lightfoot actually.
Oh.
So yeah, we see what you did there. Just the score of the Super Bowl and against Rodgers and the Steelers, in which they beat the Steelers in the Super Bowl. So
Hmm.
little fun little tidbit. So before we wreck this pod like the Edmund Fitzgerald, we better get out of here. Thank you all for listening. Go check out all things Eurostep. How about that for a segue, Jordan? How about that?
Fitzgerald. Moving on.
um, Thank you all for listening. Check out all things Milwaukee Bucks over at the Eurostep with Ty Rohan as the Bucks kicked off their season with a big W against the Washington Wizards, and Chris Middleton's return to Milwaukee. Um, all things GSPN at GSPN.info. Jordan wrote a little Bucks primer over there if you want to go check that out. The link to our Discord is in the About section over there as well. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back probably live Sunday night after the late game. So
Yep.
go subscribe to the YouTube Talk of the Tundra on YouTube to get notifications for that. You don't got turn. You don't got to click the bell. You just got to hit subscribe, and we'll let you know if you're listening. This to this now. Obviously, that we're gonna be live Sunday night after the game. So go come hang out with us there, and revel in a big Packers win or have some group therapy if they lose. Regardless of that all, I am the master of segues, Jordan. Thank you.
Thank you.